Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday. I'm continuing my pre-recording, and you'll notice Momo is still sleeping. I've been sitting here for like 3.5 hours now, recording. Momo is getting his lack of steps in. Cat cardio is what you are watching is cat cardio. This is the long distance running of cat cardio. This boy can't sleep. See, he knows I'm talking about him now. But he's like, nope, not going to be interrupted. Deep sleep. Epic cat. He's like, get on with it. Did you see that? If you like watching me talk to my cats, help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Okay, so we're going to talk about an experience I had. As some of you know, I lecture at the college level. This particular talk was my gender and gaming talk, which is the most common. What I do is I start with the signifiers that everybody expects, the typical, I call the talk accidental sexism in game design. And I start with signifiers and I move into systems because what really brings in more of a female player base is the act of doing, not the act of looking, because gaming is performative as well as you see cool things. There's an art style, camera angles, all that stuff. But I have a portion in the talk about Mortal Kombat. And I show the evolution of Kitana's costume versus the very little change that's gone on with Liu Kang in the history of the franchise. And I show the undue amount of alterations that have happened to Kitana. You see her wearing less and less and less and less clothes until like a high point or low point, depending on how you look at it, with Mortal Kombat 9. And then all of a sudden, nerfed, she's covered head to freaking toe. She might as well be in a friggin' parka. She looks like, to me, Kitana in Mortal Kombat 11 looks like she's in a goddamn speed skating outfit. Like a burkini. And there's nothing wrong with burkinis. If I was younger, I actually would have worn a burkini because then I wouldn't sunburn. But it's very different, right? And there's peplums and kitten heels and all this fucking shit. That's not the point. Before I even landed where I was going with it, I set it all up and landed. A couple of girls in the class, they can do it in chat, which I love. I love this remote learning for this particular format because they can just babble away in chat and feel like they're really a part of it. But when I talked about early Kitana from Mortal Kombat, two of the women there, they were like, I liked that she showed a lot of skin. I liked that she showed cleavage because it was a shorthand for power for me. And I'm like, yes, that's how everybody saw it in the 90s. That's how everybody saw it. That was the point. And this is coming out of Feedback Friday because I believe it was Jean in the comments said something similar. And with her, I believe it was Mileena, that after all this removing Mileena, now they've brought Mileena into Mortal Kombat 11 and their delightful games as service format. Now Mileena's back and now they have to pay extra for the privilege. And at this point, there's two things going on. I'm going to deal with the simplest one first, which is the classic Mortal Kombat that was what it was for years and years and years, which you unlocked characters in the home version of the game, because there was one version in the arcade and one version at home. You unlocked, Smoke and Jade and was Reptile unlockable? I don't remember, but you unlocked them through skill. You did certain things, you found these hidden characters, you did certain things in the game, and you unlocked characters as proof of your progression in the game. Now you buy these additional characters. You don't earn these additional characters. And so there is a sense of loss in that feedback for achievement that longtime players like me feel, even before you get into the holy fucking shit NetherRealm, will you just stop shaming me? And there's a lot of longtime Mortal Kombat fans of both genders who feel of all genders. I'll lump everybody because I'm sure there's some trans and non-binary people who feel the same way about this. They're tired of feeling like the company is shaming them for liking the company's past work. And I totally get that. No matter what you feel about Scarlet, you know, classic Scarlet, where she's wearing dental floss. At the time, I was like, I had this ongoing joke before they nerfed all the women in gaming in terms of sexy. If there was a redheaded character, guaranteed she was gonna be what was considered at the time to be the turbo slut. And I had this run-on joke with my husband. It's always maligned again. You know, we were either like, you know what I'm talking about, right? And it's the femme fatale thing and all that stuff and whatever. Every once in a while, you got a character that subverted it, like Jessica Rabbit. But most of the time, it was just, oh yeah, the redhead's the turbo slut, which is why I loved Kinsey in the Saints Row games. Saints Row 3, I think. Saints Row 4, they did more of it. But Kenzie was not, you know, everything hanging out, hyper sexualized at first, but she wasn't completely devoid of sexuality either. And I really liked that. I thought it was a nice bit of nuance, played for laughs a lot of the time. But it's like, oh, look, a character that is allowed to be a whole person while being female in a video game. This is my version of a Bechdel test. Leanna will play a game if a female character in a video game is explored as a whole person. That's all it takes. And I don't even care if there's more than one. As long as that one, look, he's so cute, the tummy. Anyway, distracting. I don't even care if there's only one female character in that game and everybody else is a guy. As long as that character is allowed to be explored fully as a whole person instead of just the girlfriend or just the love interest or just whatever. Does she have interesting layers? I'm good with that. You know, Shaundi is good that way too. Just Shaundi's not the redhead in that game. And I know different people have different pet peeves, but it all comes down to the same thing, that the characters that we would immediately identify with based on appearance are pigeonholed into this one thing they're allowed to be. And I don't understand why companies like NetherRealm Studios don't have some leave those characters just the way they are, create other characters there. And I wonder if they attempted that with Mortal Kombat, because I mean, what was that dual character, Terra, the creepy chick riding the big monster guy, I forget. That was an interesting idea in terms of different type of female playable character. I mean, Devora was a really interesting expansion as well. She's got an exoskeleton, but they made her kind of sexy too. Like, it was weird. It's like, bug, oh my god, she's like human syphilis. Terra Dor, I don't remember. You know who I'm talking about, right? But that character was kind of clunky to play by design, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at the more modern roster characters, and this is what I don't understand what the fuck NetherRealm is doing, because if you look at the more recently launched roster character games like Overwatch or League of Legends, you know, just use Overwatch as an example. You've got Widowmaker, who's boobzilla, right? I love that character's design. But then you got Tracer, and then you got what's her name, Diva, the chick in the suit. I have trouble learning characters' names now because there's so many of them. Because then you move over to League of Legends and there's Annie and Amumu. Amumu's my boy. Amumu. But you know what I mean? You've got all these different characters in these games. Some are very overtly visually sexy. Some are not. And it works. So in light of that, why did Mortal Kombat feel the need to nerf everyone? But do you notice Mileena is still allowed to be kind of sexual and sexy because she's evil? That's a it's not a message, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. And if I thought it was they were just doing the typical Girl Friday femme fatale thing, those are tropes, whatever, right? Valid. But it really seems with NetherRealm, because it's happening across the board, that they actually think that either sexy women are evil or the heterosexual male attraction to sexy women is evil. Either way, there's a really not good internalized morality going on there in a game where people's heads get cut off and their spines get ripped out. And remember what I said earlier in this week about American morality standards getting forced on the rest of the world? This is why I made this video last. Because the rest of the world that doesn't have this dysfunction about nudity, male or female, the way large swaths of America seem to have. We're going, what the fuck? You can, like, have people explode into, like, fountains of blood, and that's perfectly fine for a 15-year-old to watch, but one boob is immediately 18 plus? I don't get it. I don't like what that says. I am uncomfortable about what that says, you know? And I'm not saying ban the violence. No. I'm saying let's have truly open expression, and let's have the fight that no, it's not inherently morally wrong for a woman to be wearing less at times, because we don't apply that standards to men. And no, that's not saying turn back the clock to the time where boobs were used to sell everything from gum to soda to floor polish. Floor polish doesn't even exist anymore. I'm not talking about that, because men weren't, the whole spokesmodel thing. You're never gonna see a guy standing next to a box of fucking Tang. Do people even know what Tang is anymore? I don't know. But standing next to, like, I don't know, whatever, and doing this, No. I'm talking about if, those scenes in premium cable now, where they're always a big, and the guy's like, he's like sucking it in, and he walks out, and he's like totally bare ass naked, and it's the whole like Terminator with a dick kind of thing, like, and he's sucking the gut in as much, it's like, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't go in for that super muscular guy thing anyway. It's cool if you do. But it's always that. Like, it's never the more kind of slender dude. It's always the, I haven't had bread in 6 months kind of look. Like, I don't like that. I don't want that. Why it always gotta be that? And it's always this awkward, like, I am man. Like, man. What's that? That's not a reproductive organ. That's a man pistol. I'm just... It's not sexy to me. But they do it. In premium cable, there's man ass everywhere. It's just... Okay, it's this big lead up to the dick. It's the timpani dick, okay, if men can do that on premium cable, why can't female nudity be the same clear exertion of some sort of power or dominance? Why can't we have that? Why is female nudity always in the context of, oh, this woman is being shamed or taken advantage of? You know, they kind of did both in Game of Thrones with Daenerys, but let's face it, female nudity was associated a lot more with degradation or shame in Game of Thrones than it was with a moment of power. This is the issue. It's how the nudity is being used. It's how the sexuality is being used. It's not the nudity or sexuality for nudity or sexuality's sake. And I mean, it's interesting that more women feel, and I think this is a bit of the long-term good side of the whole Me Too thing, is women are starting, we've done the whole like barfing pain for a couple of years now. We're starting to come out of it, and we're starting to go, no, you know what? I am tired of the media deciding my body is either a commodity or dirty. And I'm tired of the media determining that any sexual preference around consenting adults and a few, mascot suits is dirty. I'm sick of this. Like, that's what drives the underpinning cultural issues surround these power politics. We're sick of it. We don't want to live in this world anymore. We don't want our media reminding us that this is the world. Because remember I said back on Monday that media is very good at enforcing what's normal, at normalizing behaviors? This is something it can be very powerful about. And the noticeable difference between what's going on in gaming and going on everywhere else is, like I said, noticeable. But it goes deeper than that. Because more women watch television. The percentage of the television audience that is female for any given show is much higher than the percentage of the player base in a AAA game that is female. Look at the content women are watching compared to the content that has allegedly been changed so that women will consume it, and women still aren't consuming it. If anything, the numbers have kind of fallen. They certainly haven't risen. So obviously that wasn't the problem. Obviously there are other problems. One is cost of access. A game console is 3 pairs of shoes. These are the financial choices we have to make. Okay? Plus makeup, plus hair, plus goddamn, a haircut now with highlights is $200. That's 2 video games. So I let it, you see where my highlights are now? Oh my God, I stretch it. Like, oh my God, my hair comes down to my shoulder, I cut it. But that's because I want to buy video games. But there is more to it. Women are not going to play games where things seem to be scowly McScowly face, right? That's where we get into the signifiers. But that's besides the point right now. The point is that all this stuff, all this Frankfurt School critical theory nerfing of the boobs, nerf the boobs and the women will come, hasn't worked. At this point, it's been long enough that we can agree that it's a failed experiment. And yet, let's face it, Mortal Kombat is not going to have a gigantic, female-dominant player base just from the sheer amount of violence that's in it. I say this as somebody who plays these games. I recognize I'm sex typical. The average women, like, I don't play Mortal Kombat with female friends. They're like you, right? You're not gonna. And I don't see, I don't get it. But, you know, first case scenario, first, let's put the cart before the horse. This isn't working. If the people who want more women playing video games have to try something else. They do. Because this just isn't working. And yet women are flocking to premium cable properties. And God, go read slash fiction if you want to see what women want from their media, because that's predominantly female writers. Yes, it's a lot of gay men in slash fiction with badly written sex scenes for people who clearly don't know how that shit works. But it really does show that women aren't afraid of sex the way the powers that be claim we are. So I shall leave it there. If you like this kind of content, help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/AnnaK. Thanks for watching.